Well, hello, my friends. Welcome back to Just Keep Parenting. It's been a couple weeks since I have uploaded a video, but I've been thinking about lots of things as we get ready to start a new year and what that looks like for me professionally, for the children, for the students, the university students I'm working with, and trying to put into like this vat of all the goodness, right, that I have gained over the year with my connection with the Fred Rogers Institite and all that goodness that has been going around in my head. And I just got the new Mr. Rogers book. There, Mr. Rogers, Does It Ever Rain in Your Neighborhood? And so I've decided the next 6 videos are going to be centered on Mr. Rogers' fundamentals of learning and growing. He has 6 fundamentals. And I just think it's important that we remember those 6 fundamentals because it was something that I learned with my connection to Educators Cohort this last year. And so we're just going to take one a week and we're going to talk about it. The first one is a sense of self-worth, right? And I just think that we have to figure out what we're good at so that we can share it. Right, and not necessarily in a proud, boastful way, but just recognizing the good in us, right, and recognizing what we can bring to the world. I have my Do Good shirt on today because it reminds me, right, that I have good to offer the world, and I think we all do, and we all have to recognize that in ourselves and in each other. The second one that Mr. Rogers talks about is a sense of trust. We'll be focusing on that in a couple of weeks. Curiosity, the capacity to look and listen carefully. That's one of my favorite ones that we talked about this year as part of the cohort group. The capacity to play. That was something that we talked about in our night class with early childhood majors, was what does that look like? Because I'm actually having children that come to preschool and they don't know how to play yet. And so being able to figure out what the capacity to play looks like and sounds like for children. And then the last one is times of solitude. I just got some new chairs in my classroom. I call them alone time chairs. And if you've looked back at any of the videos about back to school, those are in there. And I'm so excited because they're a different color. The secretary has totally beautified them up. And I'm excited for those chances for the kids to have, right, times of solitude within those alone time chairs. And if you don't know what those are, they're an egg-shaped chair from IKEA that has like a curtain that comes down. So it's shaped like, you know, this, and then your body goes inside, and then you have a curtain that you can pull down. So let's talk about a sense of self-worth. One of the things I was looking back in my notes that I took all year, I'm sorry, with my cohort, and one of the things that I learned this summer was, why do we always quote Fred Rogers, right? He's, especially in early childhood settings, in family settings, why do we quote him? And there was 3 reasons given this summer. We agree with him, right? He agrees with us, or at least we think he does. And the third one was because we take his ideas seriously even if we don't fully understand it yet, right? So that processing of what does this look like, right, in my life, in my work, in my professional, in my social circles, what does this look like? We take his idea very seriously, but we may not understand it completely. So that's what I'm doing, right? Is I'm taking his ideas seriously, trying to help spread the word with his ideas, but giving us hopefully a sense of it's like taking some time to process, to percolate on the things, on the 6 fundamentals of learning and growing. One of the things that I've been trying to put together this year is a parent connection corner. And I've always had one, but I want the parents to recognize that they are pretty wonderful, right, in the work that they're doing. So the quote that I'm having over in the Parent Connection area this year is, parents don't come full bloom at the birth of the first baby. In fact, parenting is about growing. It's about our own growing as much as it is about our children's growing. And that kind of growing happens little by little, right? We see it in our children, but do we see it in ourselves as caregivers, as parents of children? Anyway, that's been percolating in my brain, and I went to a great class this summer, and the presenter talked a lot about how teachers and caregivers see parents and how we can be a help, right? A resource to those parents who are in the thick of it. And so that's kind of one of the things I'm trying to do this year, is to use my gifts and my talents to help the parents and have them have a little pat on the back as they leave the classroom, right? And recognize that they are growing and blooming just as their children are. Okay, so as we look at that first fundamental, right, a sense of self-worth, he says, quote Mr. Rogers, as human beings, our job in life is to help people realize how rare and valuable each one of us really is, that each of us has something that no one else has or ever will have, something inside that is unique to all time. Mr. Fred Rogers. So what does that mean, right? I think we have to, do some deep searching, and Mr. Rogers is all about deep and close. Do you have relationships that are deep, not just surfacey, right? But how many people do you open up to? I was having a conversation with a friend this morning, and we were talking about, how many people do we really show ourselves to, right? Have that deepness. I have a lot of people in my life. I love people. I have a lot of people. However, I have a few people that are in that circle of right here. And so how do we help others, right, to recognize, right, the goodness that they bring to that? I love how he says, a sense of self-worth is a person's belief in their innate value as a unique individual and that they are worthy of love, right? I'm getting this information off the Fred Rogers Institite website, where they have the 6 fundamentals. It is tied to how someone values and respects all parts of themselves consistently over time. Self-worth is reflected in someone's level of confidence, self-esteem, and the ability to acknowledge areas for personal growth. This morning I went to get my hair cut, and the lady that cuts my hair said, "You've been losing weight." And I said, "Well, as a matter of fact, I have," right? And I said, "I'm wearing this shirt today, and it's a little tighter on me than I'd like. And I usually wear things that cover up a few things." And she's like, "Dory, it looks great." And that's what I'm trying to work on right now, right? Is recognizing that I may have some flaws that I don't love about myself, but I'm concentrating on the good things that I see about myself and recognizing that I do have some areas for personal growth, right? Which I've been working on. And so being able to recognize the difference that we can make in the world, right? Using our gifts to support others. So Mr. Rogers and the Institute give some ideas for us to think about how we can help our children have this sense of self-worth. The first one is share what you notice that makes a child unique and talk about what makes others unique, right? We're not talking about comparing. We're talking about what's unique about us and what makes others unique. The second one is allow for mistakes and let them be a normal part of growing and learning. We all make mistakes, right? We all have errors, but recognizing that it's not necessarily something that we're doing wrong, but that it really is a step in the process of growing and becoming. Let them be a normal part of growing and learning. Number 3, encourage children in their efforts more than their outcomes, right? Sometimes that's hard for us Because we look at the outcome rather than look at the effort that's being put in, right? You are working so hard on that. I know that's so hard for you. We tried it yesterday. We're trying it again today, right? Look at you. You are working hard at this. If you need to take a break, go get a drink, right? Then we can come back and do this some more, right? So focusing on, we call it the process rather than the product. Number 4, that we're present when a young person is sharing about themselves, right? And not just present physically, but here. Are we present with them when they're sharing about themselves? Number 5, help children honor and express their emotions. Honor them. What does that sound like to you, right? What does that mean in your life? How do we honor and express our emotions? To be able to say, I can see that your face is really angry right now. Your eyebrows are poking in and your lip is kind of down. I can tell, right? It looks to me like you might be angry. Let's talk about why you're angry. Why are you having those feelings, right? A lot of times anger is related to fear, right? So if we can kind of dig through those things and help them express them, then they're not all bottled up inside. The next one is to expect children to take on developmentally appropriate responsibilities and invite their participation in meaningful tasks, right? We have jobs, but we have jobs that are developmentally appropriate to children. We don't anticipate that they're going to be able to do things that are not appropriate to their development. And meaningful tasks, right? Helping them to understand how this task helps the family get ready, understanding how this task that you're doing has the consequences, right? When we do this, then this is what we're able to do. If we don't do this, right, helping them work through that. The next one is to take care of ourselves, right, in ways that model love for ourselves and respect for our own needs. So being able to talk about that overtly. So many times we just go throughout life and we don't really explain to the children, this is why mommy's doing this. This is why daddy's doing this. This is why big sister's doing this, right? But take care of ourselves in ways that model love for ourselves and respect for our own needs. There's a video online about a mom of twins that's in a pantry, and you can see she's not looking at herself, the video. She's looking at the children who are underneath the door, and she's in there, and she said, I just needed 5 minutes, right? So she shut herself in the pantry. The kids are wondering where she is, but I love the fact that I can't remember if she's eating licorice or if the kids are doing the licorice. I can't remember, but it just reminded me, right, that she is taking some time for herself and respecting those own needs that she needs. The next one is use your own strengths to help others. We can't use those strengths if we don't understand what we bring to the picture. So being able to find out what those are. I remember when I went back to grad school the second time, one of the things that we had to do for one of our classes was to reach out to our people and send them an email and say, what are the strengths that you see in myself, right? And can you give me a couple of examples of that? And that was really telling for me, and it was hard for me to be that vulnerable, right, with people, but it was pretty amazing to say, oh yeah, that's exactly what I feel like my strengths are too, right? And so if you don't know what those strengths are, right, take some time to look at yourself, take some time to figure out from others, ask your closest friends. In one of my classes, they gave, we need to know what we need to know to know. And so I am somebody who, ... things that are important to me, ... I share who I am and what I feel with the world through ... right? Maybe that's a little exercise that might help you come to know, right, what your strengths are and what those important aspects of you are. The next one is to set and model boundaries that create an environment of respect for yourself and others. So many times we grouch, right? We talk bad, we talk behind backs. When we've committed to do something, we really didn't want to do it. Well, yeah, right? That's not showing our children how to set boundaries and how to be able to do that. had somebody reach out yesterday and asked me to help with something that I really did kind of want to help with, but at this point in my life, I don't have the capacity to do that. And so sending an email back to them and saying, I would love to help with this, but at this point in my life, I can't, right? And not feeling bad about that, but being able to say, can I do this? No, right now I can't, right? And helping the kids in my life, the people in my life recognize that it's okay to set those boundaries, and not be grouchy later because I said yes to something that I probably couldn't have done. And the last one is express gratitude and appreciate others, right? Appreciate their being in your life. I've been thinking a lot about who loved me into being. That was one of the Mr. Rogers things that I've been thinking about. How do you love people into being, right? How do you express gratitude and appreciation for others? Whether it's in our emails, whether it's in our text, whether it's in our face-to-face conversations. But how do you express gratitude? How do you express appreciation for others? I think we have friends who sometimes don't do that, and there's a difference in how I feel with one or the other, right? And there's a difference in me then reaching back out. And so thinking about It's You I Like, right, from Mr. Rogers. So thinking about your sense of self-worth, does it need to have a little oil put on it? Does it need to have a little percolating time given so that you can bring your best self to what you have to offer the world? We all have something to offer. I hope that you can figure out what it is that you're offering, and I hope that you can find ways to offer that to your significant other, to the children in your life, to your colleagues. Sometimes it's hard, right? But what do you bring and what do you offer? Are you making life better? Thanks for joining us on Just Keep Parenting. We'll see you again.